What are your overall memories of working for the Jarretts?
You know, those were some long, hard runs. You know, we would we had a house show, in Memphis, and then the very next morning in Memphis, we had live TV at 9 o'clock, and then we would drive to Nashville that day and work a show in Nashville that night, and then the next morning we'd get up and go to Louisville, and then the next day we would get up and go to Evansville, Indiana. So, you know, as an 18-year-old kid running 250 miles there and back, you know, 6 days a week, that was a lot of traveling for me, and it's a lot of traveling for anybody that was ever brought up in a territory. But I tell you, the memories that I had there were working with guys like Jeff Jarrett, Bill Dundee, and the Southern Rockers, Rex King and Steve Dowell. It was great memories, man, because of course I was in there with Sweet Daddy Falcon and Mike Awesome. Rockin' Randy was in there. I don't know if you guys remember him. But there was a lot of good talent in there, and it was something totally different than Texas. It was a lot of younger talent in there. Texas had a lot of old, established people, and I don't mean old as far as years. I just mean, you know, very, very mature for their territory. And USWA always had a fresh crew of guys coming in there. You know, Brickhouse Brown was in and out of there. Just a name, Coco Beware. You know, there was always guys filtering in and out of USWA as they were either in between WCW or WWF. So, you know, USWA was a place to continue working and sharpening your skills in between going to, say, different territories.
You bring up Steve Dahl, who recently, you know, last year passed away. What are your memories of Steve Dahl? Can you share like a road story or something about him?
You know, I tell you, Steve was a really nice guy. Working with him, he was a phenomenal hand. I'll tell you one thing I did do one night. It's not a very good story, but, you know, I had steel-toe boots, and I actually busted his head open just kicking him in the head. And he got color hard way on that, and you know, we were able to continue the match. Of course, I was 18, 19 years old at the time, and still really learning how to work, you know. I stiffed him with a steel-toe boot one night and opened him up in Memphis, Tennessee. That's one story.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Now, while you were working for USWA, you were also working for World Championship Wrestling, and you got to work with the likes of Vader, Ron Simmons, and other guys like that. What was that like for you?
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because I actually did that, before I even went to USWA. That's funny you said that because I was really in good with Jody Hamilton, and which was one of the original assassins. Of course, everybody knows him. He ran Deep South Wrestling, and his son Nick Patrick did the referee. I knew those guys real well, so I had an opportunity to do some stuff. I worked with the Iron Sheik over in Mississippi. I worked with the Road Warriors in New Orleans. I worked with Kevin Sullivan up in Columbus, Ohio. Lex Luger, like you said, Ron Simmons at Doom at Little Rock. Worked with Sting. Great Muda down in Baton Rouge. You know, and those are the days that I was putting in my time just breaking in this business because I never won a match with those guys. But I was getting some great crowd experience, working on my entrances, just learning how to behave in the locker rooms and networking with guys and getting my name out there. So I had a phenomenal time working with WCW back in those days. I worked with the Freebirds out in Atlanta. And that was back when it was Mike Hayes and Jimmy Garvin. Let's see, what else I do with those guys? I worked with Norman the Lunatic out in Oklahoma. And let's see, I worked with the Midnight Express out in Amarillo. So I had a lot of good matches. And to be honest with you, those were actually before my days in USWA as a Dirty White Boy.
Oh, okay. What led to your departure from WCW?
Well, you know, I never really had a deal with them. You know, I was sporadically on a nightly with those guys. I never had a contract. I was still fairly a young worker. I was just trying to get my name out there and learn how to work. And so I never really had a departure. I ended up going to USWA, and I kind of had a solid spot there, on the loop with those guys. So once you're in a position with a territory like that, you didn't really drift out like that very much,
Yeah. Falcon, go ahead.
You won the TWF heavyweight title on 4 occasions. What was that experience like for you?
Well, it was an honor, man, because I was over real good with the World Class Office, and a lot of that World Class Office kind of drifted into GWF. And after I had left Tennessee with the Dirty White Boys, I spent a year out in Puerto Rico, and when you're in this business and you're making all these runs in these territories and you're making sacrifices, they know where your heart's at. So when I came back to Dallas in 1990, 92, 93, 94, those are the GWF days, they saw talent with me, and Bill Irwin was booking this, while Bill Irwin and Michael Hayes was helping out, and Jimmy Garvin, and when I first came in, they had Sean Summers as the Beach Boy, and they tagged us up one night, and then I think it was Michael Hayes and Bill Irwin. They said, "Hey, let's call you the Beach Bully next week, and put you guys as a tag team, the Beach Bully and the Beach Boy." So they did that, and then the Beach Bully kind of, I started doing some single matches with Chaz Taylor, Calvin Knapp, Stephen Dane, several guys in there, Hurricane, Mike Dahl. But, technically, and I'm not really trying to put myself over, but I was a better worker than most of those guys because I had gotten out and paid my dues. And I had a lot more ring knowledge and technical wrestling skills than those guys did. I wrestled 4 years in high school, before I went pro. So my talent was there, so I earned that. It just wasn't given to me.